Ok, hola, buenos días. Es un placer estar con vosotros. I'm happy to be with you today. I'm sorry I have to talk in English. I don't know too much of Espanol words. So I'm going to switch to English to cover my slides. Hope you don't mind doing this. Huh? Okay. So in my presentation today, I will start talking about SAP Globalization Services in general, our role in SAP Intelligent Enterprise Strategy, and that's the latest strategy from SAP that we promoted to our customers in the market. Before I start, how many of you have attended our last Localization Day in Barcelona? Any of you have been there in Barcelona Localization Day? It's good. I'm happy that, because I'm going to repeat the same jokes that I have made it there. So I don't want that I repeat myself again. But it's important. When I started my career working in the localization domain in general, I am based out of Dubai, and I'm hope that you know that Dubai, we have a lot of deserts, I would say. And it's a hot weather most of the time. So usually people do business there in the areas of like some sort of cold drinks and all of this stuff. So my first project was in one of the companies that provide some of the power drinks. And they have hired a lady to drive the marketing campaign for this company. So they started thinking about what could be the strategy to promote the message behind this drink to the market. And she started looking for the deserts. People could get more hot, and they want to have some sort of refreshments for them. And she started drawing a simple movie like that, a person who's dying in the heat, and then he found this drink, and he had this drink, then he became fresh and up running. And it sounds perfect story, yeah? And it fits into the environment of Dubai. Yeah? But actually, she missed a very important aspect in MENA region, where in Middle East, we are not reading from left to right, but actually we are reading from right to left. So imagine if this story comes to the consumer, you are fresh, and then you drink this, and then you are dying. Huh? So you can imagine what was the end of her career with this company. Huh? And from that day, it sounds to me how important is you to understand the local and legal requirements in the country, the culture of the country, and that's pretty much connected to the concept of localization. So it's real proof of how important to have not just the best practices, the best product, but this product should meet my local requirement and expectation. So that would be the base of my presentation today. Hopefully I will try to make it on time. So I'm going to cover the strategy part, talking about the intelligent strategy from SAP, what is the role of globalization services in this strategy. And then I will talk how we can scale this strategy, considering the volume of changes and legal requirements across the countries, and also the number of products that we are consuming from SAP as well. And finally, I will share our latest localization roadmap for Spain to show how much of investment we put into the country. So to put some context behind this, if you look today for any sort of a global consumer process, there is different elements that define or influence this process, starting from your products that you are producing to your end customers, or if you are in the services domain, you also provide some sort of manpower services or any type of services. And at the same time, there is different parameters and factors within the country that could influence your business, that's dictated by laws, as I mentioned, or by the local culture. Don't forget the right to left, I mentioned it at my joke. And at the end of the day is the local language. That's all of these are parameters that we cannot underestimate the importance of these parameters when we roll out a business in a country. And accordingly, you need to have a process that can accommodate all of these parameters together to keep your position in the market, especially in such a competitive market position that we have today. And looking from an end user perspective, few years ago, if maybe more, early 90s, 80s, where everything was driven by mainframes. Industrial automation was at the beginning of its journey, I would say. End user used to consume most of the time doing what we call it repetitive tasks. So we will just focusing on how to key data to the system, how to fill screens, different records, different files, and less time we spend on what we call it value-added services. So that's pretty much was the case at that time. When we start moving forward towards how we automate this business process and how we move into a digital transformation journey, if you see the repetitive tasks has been reduced a lot and all customers started looking for more of automation and more of a value-added task. And that's actually pretty much what we are looking today, talking about the intelligent enterprise that looking for how to automate more their business processes and how to get value added from the time spent by the end users and to some extent reduce, if completely avoid what we call it the repetitive tasks, which is having less value for the organization. That was the base behind SAP latest strategy building, what we call it the intelligent enterprise strategy. And let me go through the main component of the strategy, starting with what we call it the core intelligence suite. S/4HANA definitely comes in the center, and we connect the dots between the intelligence suite and the different line of businesses that we have, either from an HR perspective, like your people, either your internal resources or your third party working for you, your customers, your vendors. So all the different line of businesses completely integrated with your intelligence suite. Doing that, it will give you one platform that you can use it across the different domains and line of businesses that you have within your organization. And definitely, GS has contributed into this to make sure all of these products not just available for consumption in the country as a standard international products, but it's also localized to meet the local requirements of the country. And as a good example for that is this intelligence suite today is being localized in terms of S/4HANA again from S/4HANA on-premise. If we look to the latest releases for S/4HANA, either on-premise or cloud, both versions are available for Spain and being localized for Spain as well. The second part of the strategy is that enough for organization to drive your business? Sometimes yes. Sometimes we have an additional requirements, additional features, functions that we needed to run our business. And through what we call it our cloud platform that can be used either by you, by your partner, to extend the functionality that we deliver it here, you can use this cloud platform to process your data, to develop an extended feature that can be integrated with that. So that's another arm for you. If this functionality may not be enough for you, then you can go beyond this using the features or the power of the cloud platform. And globalization services has also invested a lot building different value-added extensions on top of SAP Cloud Platform. Just an example for that, we will see today an example for HR Khema is going to cover. It's called Visa and Permits Management. It's another module in SuccessFactors, which has been natively developed on top of SAP Cloud Platform. That's pretty much okay till now, but where is the intelligent piece? And that's what we have added inside this complete offering from SAP by leveraging the intelligent technologies, machine learning, IoT, analytics, AI, and all of that. So all of these technologies are the basis or the tools that we have used to build some intelligent business scenarios inside the complete end-to-end offering that we provided to you. And there will be also a good example today will be shared by Francisco about Lotto Action, which is a good example of the intelligence that we bring it into this. So we will see with him how we can get a value from the laws and all of that and analyze it, understand it in a quicker way, automated by the system to reduce the efforts required by the manpower to do this. So that's pretty much what we call the intelligent enterprise strategy offered by SAP. And it has, as I mentioned, a lot of examples. I just brought one example of how we embed intelligence into our product through what we call it RPA. RPA is the Intelligent Robotic Processes in SAP, which is we try to automate some of the repetitive tasks that I mentioned in my first slide. So if you see today, those are just examples of time-consuming repetitive tasks that our end users are doing today. And what we try to do as an SAP, we try to automate this somehow through these RPA activities. You can have a function that goes through different screens, collects the data for you, upload it to the system. Your invoices reconciliations that we do today manually, it can be automated through these processes. So all of these are examples of a business scenarios that we can automate it using systems and avoid manpower intervention in that, or at least minimize it. How we do that? How we make sure that these products are available for customers, not just with the intelligence, but also with the local flavors, and this is the role of globalization services. And I hope by time now, like more than 10 years, we are in Spain, serving Spain, so you know this slide by heart, which defines the 3 key pillars for us as globalization services. So we do translation, we make sure the products are available in your local language, we localize the products to meet the local requirements from features perspective, and we make sure our foundation technology are international enough to accommodate your time zones, currency, blah, 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 and all of these aspects. So these are the 3 key pillars that globalization services work to provide all of these examples of localizations that you could come across in your day-to-day business. Those just are examples. I will not go through definitely all of them, but I'm sure you know how much it's important that we need to localize your statutory reports, your time data, your languages, invoices. So all of these are just key functions within your organization that's highly impacted by laws and regulation in the country where globalization services helping you in this journey. How we do that? Definitely we put our customers in the center of all what we do. And we try as much as possible that to be close to a different channel that we are working with them to make sure we got the right understanding for the regulation and we put this logic into our system. So we do that through some of the localization events like what we do today. We discuss with you, we network with you. We have a close collaboration with customers, with user group, customer influence, legal requirements, understanding by authorities directly. And definitely our relation to AUSP is very close. And I hope with such, I would call it trusted relationship between us and the user group here in Spain, we can continue this relationship. And yeah, it's a pleasure to know that this is your 25th anniversary. So congratulations for that. And I hope you all the best actually rolling it out. Yesterday, we have a good discussion with Nachos and the team, and also Stefan Steinel, the head of globalization services, about how we see the role of the user group here in Spain more valuable for customers. And if you'd really rate your performance here compared to other user group, you are actually come on top of the list of the best performer user group. So again, happy birthday for the AUSP, and I wish you all the best. And we keep, as I mentioned, the trusted and the value-added relationships that we have it between you and SAP. Having said that, the rules or the laws that we are dealing with keep changing and evolving. And if you are tracking for what changes happen not only in Spain, but globally, you would understand that we are facing continuous changes into the regulation and the digital transformation that governments or authorities try to implement it in different countries, bring some sort of challenges for business enterprises. So if you are running business out of Spain, but you have a plant in China, or you have a factory in US or Latin America countries, you export, import the products. So imagine you need to deal with all of these buzzwords. SII in Spain, e-invoicing Italy, GST in India, VAT here and there, and all of this regulation keep changing. And all the governments become more active than before doing all of these changes. And actually, it's happening not only one time, but it's actually regularly. They keep changing this and adding multiple phases. So all of these changes in regulation, you need, or we need as an SCB, being your localization arm, to cope up with that. And definitely, if we just follow the same classical approach of going directly into our product, start writing a couple of lines of code to localize the product for you, that may not be enough to be able to cope up with all of these changes. Accordingly, SCB started thinking of how we can accelerate the localization that we do it into our products, and that was the base of SCB Localization Hub, which is, in a simple words, why I have to write the same code more than one time. If I have changes in the tax calculation, why I need to localize it by writing the same code inside Ariba, inside S4HANA, inside Concur, why we do that. And we started thinking out of the box, if I write this code one time in one place and I just consume it in different places, we think that could be a smart way of being able to scale faster and to face such huge legal changes on the regulation across the globe. So that was the approach that Globalization Services 3 years ago come up with, and we started building some examples of what we call it cloud services that can be connected to your products. Just an example for that is the tax, and that's an example that all of us may be either impacted or influenced by it. And if you look from an SCB perspective, those are examples of our products. And if I have some changes in VAT rate, for example, I have to do it 5 times. But looking for the approach of building a cloud service where I just update my tax service over the cloud, automatically all the products will be up to date with the new rates. So we have simplified the way how we build our localization in terms of tax computation using tax service. Same way, if I wanted to build a legal report, why I need to develop it here and there and there and all the products, it's good to develop it also one time and maybe just connect it to the systems that I'm dealing with. So those are just examples of how we build a cloud service and consume it in different products. And that could be the right approach if we want to scale to deal with such evaluation in terms of legal requirement. So let's look for the bigger picture from Globalization Services. Based on the concept of SAP Localization Hub, we started building our Globalization Services strategy over such 5 pillars. That's in terms of how we look to the legal impact over our products and where's the areas that's highly impacted by the laws or regulation in the country. We define these 5 pillars. One is the tax domain. So we try to accommodate here all the changes or all the functionalities that required from a tax perspective. The second pillar is the digital compliance, and here we deal with document compliance like e-invoicing, exchanging of digital transaction with authorities. The third pillar is the language part, which in terms of not just delivering a standard translation by ourselves, but even we give you tools or services that you can use it yourself, maybe to translate your custom development applications. And then we have the total workforce management, which is more of an HR-related topics. So we have here different example of cloud service. And last but not least is the payments, where we talk about country formats, reconciliation, payments, and all of this aspect. So those are the 5 pillars that we define under the SAP Localization Hub strategy. And all of this definitely will be based on a platform where we provide not just those as services for the final consumptions, but even we can collaborate with our partners through our channel team to be able to build extensions for these cloud services that we developed here. So those are how we classify our cloud services. And moving forward, I will try to share with you some examples of what we have done in this pillar. So let me start with an example from the tax domain, being one of the areas that highly impacted by laws, and periodically we get legal changes in this domain. So if you look for back, EY has done an exercise back in 2017, if I remember, where they start classifying the level of the digitization of tax in the countries into these 5 levels. So level 1 are those countries where they just implement the tax in the old classical way. So all enterprises do their transactions at end of the month or quarter or at the end of the year. You need to submit your tax declaration, and that's all. And then authority could come to you at any point of time to audit what you do, which we call it the normal e-file process of how to deal with the tax. Then level 2 is not just up to the tax declaration statement, but even authority can ask you for more financial data. Let me put it this way. Then there is a complete paradigm shift in how authority looking for the tax and getting an input data from the enterprise to be able to audit or to judge in your declaration, and changes the way how they audit you at end of the period, either quarterly or yearly, and they started asking you for a copy of each and every transaction, and SII is a good example for that, where you start receiving copy of every invoice, and then it can be even extended to not just the invoices, but even all your financial transactions across the enterprise. So you have complete copy of your financial transaction to the authority. And maybe at the end, we would expect in level 5 where authority will be able even to forecast for you what would be your tax declaration next year to that level. So in all of these stages, maybe up to here, you need to submit a tax declaration. Starting from here, level 3 and 4, you would be, actually you may not even need to send the tax declaration because your financial data exists with authorities. And at the last level or level 5, you would be able, the authority would be able even to help you to know what would be next, what would be your tax declaration statement, hopefully at the next year. And they started applying these levels over countries. And I don't know if it is a good news or not, but if you see here, Spain actually was the only country that exists in level 5, where there is a complete digitization for the tax process within the country. Authorities will be able to get copy of your financial data, transactions, accounting, and definitely that in one side put too much burden over the enterprise or the companies to be able to match off the authority requirements. That's, if you know that Spain is one of, I would say, have large number of laws. So back in 2013, there were around 100,000 laws in Spain. And in 2017, there is more than 170,000. So hopefully by today, I think we may be easy crossing 200,000 laws in the country. So putting this parameter with whatever level 5 that Spain exists today, it means you need really to be up to date with your systems to be able to deliver from a legal perspective what authorities or what government are asking you to do. So that's put too much burden over you and also over us as an SAP, and we need to provide you a complete solution that can help you in such a challenging position. That leads to what we call it global tax management solution. So SAP comes with this as an end-to-end solution to help you across the complete process of taxation, starting from the computation part of tax, using tax service, moving to the SAP Document Compliance, which help you to copy your e-invoicing data, your financial data out of your enterprise to the authority, to the legal reporting part here. So you can have all whatever legal documents can be generated from ACR or Advanced Compliance Reporting. And last but not least is the tax compliance arm, and that can be used at the end of the day to compile the list of the transactions generated from your system and make sure it's completely aligned with the regulation of the country, so you will not be facing any difficulty during the auditing process. So those are the four, I would say, the cornerstones of our global tax management solutions that we think it would help our customer to deal with such massive change in regulations imposed by authorities, and especially here in Spain, knowing that we are in level 5. Another example, I try to bring it from completely different domain, from the HR side. If you look today also for an enterprise that have different employees, either your local staff, maybe you have some expats working for you, maybe you have different branches in different countries, maybe you have a third-party resources working for you, and all of those people require some sort of documents. These documents could be part of legally required being in the country, or legally required to operate in a certain industry. So if you are in a pharmaceutical industry, maybe you need some sort of certificates. If you are in, I don't know, maybe manufacturing, you need some in industry specific or engineering certificate. So you have different type of documents in one side, and on the other side, you have different consumers or stakeholders. Those may need to deal with these documents. And if you start connecting the dots between serving those stakeholders, you may end up with such complex network, which is like highly impacted by regulation in the country, time-consuming, inefficient, high cost. And that leads to why we are facing all of these challenges. And the reason is that we found there is always a gap between the classical HR modules that deal with employee data, payroll, recruiting, and all of that, and this area. Usually this area today being handled through Excel sheets and most of the enterprises. And SAP being a leader in the business application domain, we started thinking out of the box to come out with non-classical module to deal with that, which we call it Visa and Permits Management. That's an innovative product, has been developed on top of SAP Cloud Platform, and it links different type of documents that could be generated from your personal data and Employee Central, applicants' data from recruiting, onboard these documents in the onboarding module, take it to this, and serving the need of the different stakeholders. Hema will have a dedicated session in the HR track specifically about this module, and even she will have some sort of a demo to go through the features of that. Those are examples. I try to bring it from what could be the value add that globalization services could bring to you as part of the global intelligent enterprise strategy. And if we start putting these components together for what we do for Spain, I feel really proud to see that we have invested from early 2012, even maybe before, and until today, if you look to the size and the volume of efforts and investments that SAP puts in Spain markets, it's really massive and huge. I'm sure everybody in this room knows all of these buzzwords better than me, how much we invested localizing our old classical ERP, moving to S4HANA on-premise, to the cloud, to the different cloud line of businesses products like SuccessFactors. And we end up this year, I see the colleagues here from Concur will talk about the certifications we have for Concur, we'll talk about the localization we have done for the time off for SuccessFactors. A lot of things happens and more to come, yet to come. And that indeed shows how SAP committed to Spanish market and Spanish customers. Just to summarize what I have done, hopefully I'm still okay with the time. I think I'm okay. So just to summarize, number one, we understand the challenges that you guys are facing to run your business for different reasons, and one of them is evolve that happens globally in terms of legal requirements, changes in laws and regulation, and you need to be sure that your system is always up to date in non-disturbed way to be able to have a smooth operations and to achieve your key targets and goals where you run your business to have this. So SAP will be your trusted partner in this journey. Using our intelligent enterprise strategy and products, we are sure that we can help you to accommodate and to deal with such changes. Second point is, don't forget SAP Localization Hub. It's the concept that globalization services come up with that. And the whole concept depends on doing something one time, having the right things in one place and just consume it across all the products. And we'll have across different type of cloud services products has been developed following this concept of SAP Localization Hub. And that will be the way that how we continuously develop and enhance our products to deliver it for you. The two examples I shared with you is the global tax management. That's also one of the very important pillar, I would say, where we have the tax service, advanced compliance reporting, the document compliance, and the tax compliance. Those are the four key components of our end-to-end tax management solution, which is pretty much, if you need to have a full control of your tax process, this is the way how you can achieve this control. Second is the SuccessFactors visa and permits management. It's a platform that can be used to track your legal documents, operational documents, industry-specific engineering documents, whatever. You can define your process, track it, integrate it with other modules of your HR, and you can have this, as I mentioned, a single platform to track this type of documents. Last but not least is that our commitment to Spain will remain as it is. Yesterday in our discussion with the head of globalization service, we mentioned this clearly, that we understand how Spain is an important market for us. All of this investment that we put it from early 2000 till today will continue. We have a very ambitious roadmap for continuous delivery and enhancement for our products to serve you. We'll be always listening to you. We'll be always happy to co-innovate with you, work with you to produce the best of our products and services for you. By this, I conclude my presentation. It was, first of all, thanks for listening to me in English, and excuse my little few words I know only on Espanol. Wish you a good day and enjoy all the rest of presentations. And if you need to discuss or raise any questions for me, it will be a pleasure answering you. Thank you.